Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. This is Dima Tutorials, and Dima Tutorials, as you guys already know, is an educational channel on YouTube, on Facebook, and on TikTok. In today's lesson, we're going to learn how to answer questions on adjectival phrases and clauses. So we're going to learn all about adjectival phrases and clauses, and I'll give you some tips that will help you in identifying adjectival phrases and clauses in your exams. When you're preparing for WASC, when you're preparing for JAM, it's important to understand this topic. Now, I've already done a video on how to identify noun phrases and noun clauses. The link will be at the comment section and at the description box if you have not watched the video. So it's important to watch the video. My next video, I will talk about adverbial phrases and clauses. So today we are focusing on adjectival phrases and clauses. Okay, let's start. So what is an adjective? Adjectival comes from the word adjective. Okay. Now, what is an adjective? An adjective is a word that describes a noun or a pronoun. An adjective is a word that describes, that gives more information about a noun or pronoun. Okay, so we say that an adjective is a word that modifies or qualifies a noun or pronoun. Okay, now what is adjectival? When you talk about adjective, it simply means more than one word that tells you more about a noun or pronoun. Okay, adjectival means more than one word performing the function of an adjective. Okay, now, what is a phrase? It's also important for you to understand what a phrase is. Now, a phrase is a group of related words without a finite verb. It's a group of related words without a finite verb. Or you say a phrase is a group of related words without either a subject or a verb or the two. Okay? It's a group of related words that lacks a subject or lacks a verb or lacks the subject and the verb. Okay? So when you have a group of related words without a finite verb, what is a finite verb? A finite verb is a verb that shows tense. A finite verb is a verb that has a subject. Okay, so before we call a verb a finite verb, it must have a subject. There must be a subject in the sentence. Okay, so when we talk about phrase, a phrase is a group of words that does not have either a subject or a verb or the two. Doesn't have the two. Okay, so that is a phrase. Now, what is an adjectival phrase? An adjectival phrase is a group of related words that lacks either the subject or the verb or the two, that tells us more about a noun or a pronoun. It's a group of related words without a final verb that tells us more about a noun or a pronoun. It's a group of related words without a final verb that describes a noun or a pronoun. Okay, so that is a phrase. That is an adjectival phrase. Okay, that is an adjectival phrase. Group of related words that tells us more about a noun or a group of related words without a final verb that tells us more about a noun or a pronoun. Okay, I hope you got that. That is an adjectival phrase. Okay, now let's look at the board. Okay, now this is the definition of an adjectival phrase. An adjectival phrase is a group of related words without a final verb that describes a noun or a pronoun. Now I've explained this. Let's look at some examples. The girl with the golden hair is my friend. The girl with the golden hair is my friend. Okay. Now with the golden hair. With the golden hair. Now, is it a phrase? Is it a phrase? Does it have a subject or a verb? Does it have a subject? Does it have a verb? No, it doesn't. Okay. Now the subject of the sentence is girl, so it doesn't contain a subject. Does it have a verb? Is there any action word? There's no action word. This is a preposition. This is an article. This is an adjective. Okay. So this is a phrase because it doesn't contain the subject, doesn't contain the verb. Okay. So this is a phrase. Now, what kind of phrase is it? What kind of phrase is it? It is an adjectival phrase because it tells us more about the girl, okay? It tells us more about the girl. Which girl? The girl with the golden hair, not the girl with red hair or black hair, but the girl with the golden hair. So it specifies the particular girl. So it describes the girl. It qualifies the noun girl. It tells us more about girl. So this is an adjectival phrase. This is an adjectival phrase because first is a phrase, and second, it tells us more about the noun girl. Okay. Now there are some strategies. He is quite talented in music. He is quite talented in music. Now, talented talented in music. Talented in music, okay? He is quite talented in music. Is there a phrase to start with? Yes, it's a phrase because it doesn't contain a subject, doesn't contain a verb, okay? When we talk about a subject of a sentence, okay, when you talk about subject, you talk about someone or something that the sentence or the clause is about. Someone or something that carries out the action of the verb in the sentence. Someone or something that the sentence is all about, okay? That is a subject, okay? That is a subject. So does it contain a subject? Does it contain the underlined words? Do you have someone or something that the sentence is all about, or someone or something that carries out the action of the verb in the sentence? No. Okay. Now you have talented. Talented is an adjective, okay, describing the noun. It's an adjective describing the pronoun, rather. It describes the pronoun he, talented, in music. In is a preposition. In is a preposition. Music is a noun. Okay. Now another important thing you should know about adjectival phrases is that it must contain an adjective, okay, which is called the head word. So the head word is an adjective. It must contain an adjective. Just like here we have with the golden hair. Golden is an adjective describing girl, is an adjective. Okay, so plenty is an adjective. So another thing you should also know that is very important, okay, is the strategy that will help you in identifying adjectival phrases in your exams. Now there are two simple strategies that will help you in identifying a group related words as an adjectival phrase. Now first, it will start with a preposition. I believe you already know what a preposition is. If you don't already know, please read about prepositions, okay? But that's not what we're talking about in this video. Read about prepositions, words that are used as prepositions. The first word that you always see in adjectival phrases are prepositions, words that are prepositions, or words that are participles. Words that are prepositions or words that are participles. By participles, I mean words that are in the present participle or past participle. For example, talented is past participle, with is a preposition. Okay, so that is how to identify, that is a very easy way to identify a group related words that is functioning as an adjective, or group of related words that you can call an adjectival phrase. Okay, group of related words that is functioning as an adjectival phrase. Okay, that's a very simple way of identifying adjectival phrases. Okay, all right, that is it about adjectival phrases. Now it's time for us to look at adjectival clauses. Adjectival clauses. Now I've explained what adjectivals are, what adjectivals are. Now, what is a clause? A clause is a group of related words that contains a subject and a verb. Okay, that is a clause. That simply means that a clause must have a subject and it must have a verb. A clause must have a subject and it must have a verb. That is a clause. Okay, so when we talk about adjectival clause, an adjectival clause is a group of related words that contains a subject, contains a verb, and describes or qualifies a noun or pronoun. A group of related words that contains a subject, the person or thing that performs the action of the verb in the sentence, that contains a subject, that contains a verb, and tells us more about a noun or a pronoun that is in the sentence. Okay, I hope that is clear. Now let's read the definition again. An adjectival clause, also called a relative clause. Yes, an adjectival clause is also called a relative clause. Okay, you find out why it's called a relative clause later on. Okay, is a dependent clause that functions as an adjective modifying a noun or pronoun. It contains both a subject and a verb. Okay, so an adjectival clause, like I said, is a group of related words. Is a clause. Okay, it's a group of related words with a subject and a verb that tells us more about a noun or a pronoun. Okay, now let's say I met the man who speaks 5 languages. I met the man who speaks 5 languages. Okay, who speaks 5 languages? Who speaks 5 languages? Does it refer to someone or something? Yes, it refers to man. It tells us more about this man. So it describes this now man, which makes it an adjectival clause. Okay, which makes it an adjectival clause. Okay, now an adjectival clause must start with a relative pronoun or a relative adverb. A relative pronoun or a relative adverb. What do I mean by relative pronoun? Relative pronouns are pronouns like who, whom, which, that, whoever, whomever. Okay. Now these are relative pronouns, and relative adverbs include why, when, and where. Okay. Why, when, and where. Relative pronouns include who, whom, whose, that, whoever, whomever. Okay, now these are relative pronouns. So now see the reason why adjectival clauses are also called relative clauses, because they always begin with relative pronouns or relative adverbs. Okay, that is why they are called relative clauses, because they always begin with relative pronouns or relative adverbs. Okay, now the indicator does an indicator to a group of related words being an adjectival phrase. Sorry, group of related words being an adjectival clause. Okay, and now after we've identified a group of words to be a clause because it contains a subject, now we have a subject here, who, which is a relative pronoun. Who speaks, which is a verb. Okay, is a finite verb, is a verb. Okay, speaks, which is a finite verb. Now we've identified it to be a clause, and we have seen that it describes a mass. Okay, I hope that is clear. So that is how to identify an adjectival phrase and an adjectival clause. Now let's answer some questions from the past questions. um I know this is not a live class, but I'm tempted to ask if you have questions. You should let me know at the comment section. But I don't know if I will have the time to answer all of your questions in the comment section. If you have one, but you can still leave your questions for me at the comment section. If I'm able to answer, that will be okay. But I'll try my best to answer you. But if I'm not able to answer, please do not get offended, because I have a lot on my plate. I have classes with a particular school that I'm preparing for WASC and JAMB UTME. I have an intensive online class that I'm handling. I have Facebook page, I have TikTok page, and I have YouTube channel to upload videos and upload posts on. So I have a lot on my plate. I also have family activities to handle. So I have a lot on my plate. So if I'm not able to answer you, don't get offended. And if you want to learn deeply on any subject, okay, if you want to fully understand every subject that you're going to sit for in your exams, I don't need to make effort at convincing you to join our online classes. Our online classes are live, they are not pre-recorded, they are live, and you get to ask questions. You get to ask questions and receive answers in real time. Okay, you ask your teachers questions and receive answers in real time. Like I said, we have so many other strategies that will help you in being among those that are going to smash JAMB UTME this year. If you are serious and you really want to be among those who are going to get admission this year, join Demand Tutorials online school. Use the number that is on your screen to send me a WhatsApp message. Our fee is minimal, is lowest you can get. Lowest you can get is 1,000 naira per subject per month. 1,000 naira for a whole month. You're going to be learning a particular subject just for 1,000 naira. 1,000 naira per subject per month. If you're serious about joining us, use the number that is on the screen to send me a WhatsApp message. Okay, now let's see some questions. Let's look at some questions from let's see some questions from what's past questions. Okay, now this is where we have a lot of questions. Now, this is where we have a lot of questions on phrases and clauses. And last year, a lot of students were taken aback because previously JAMB would not ask questions on phrases and clauses. But last year, questions came from clauses and phrases. I'm sure a lot of students were taken aback, and I believe strongly that this year JAMB is going to ask questions again on phrases and clauses, because most times examiners like to ask questions on those topics that students do not really do well on, those topics that students find difficult. So that's why I'm taking my time to break this topic down, to demystify this topic, because it's very easy. Clauses and phrases are easy topics. Okay, it just needs you to understand the strategies that will help you in identifying them in your exams. And once you're able to, like we've talked about adjectival phrases, you've understood the function, you've understood how to identify adjectival phrases and adjectival clauses, and you've seen the pointers to a group of related words being an adjectival phrase or an adjectival clause. So we know all of these things. It will be very easy for you to answer questions on phrases and clauses. Okay, now let's see some questions from what's past questions. Okay, some questions from what's past questions. Yes, another thing I did not mention, which is very, 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 very important, very, 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 very important, is that adjectival phrases and adjectival clauses always come after the noun or pronoun that they are describing or they are qualifying. Adjectival phrases and clauses will always come after the noun or pronoun that they are qualifying. Now, take note of it. This is very, very, very important. Just like we have here, the man who speaks five languages, okay, who speaks five languages comes after the noun. The noun it is describing, which is man. Okay, so the same thing with adjectival phrases. Okay, so that is it about adjectival phrases and clauses. So it's time for us to answer some questions from the past questions, was past questions. Now we have these two examples, okay, but there are still more in the past questions, very much more in the past questions. There are always a lot of questions on adjectival phrases and clauses in the past questions to help you understand how to identify adjectival phrases and clauses very easily, okay. Child labor, on the other hand, is about children who work long hours for low wages, often under harmful conditions. Okay, now we have to identify the grammatical name and function of the underlined words. Now, the first thing we are going to do is to check if the underlined words is a phrase or a clause. That's the first thing we're going to check. Check if it's a phrase or a clause. Now, let me give you 10 seconds to check if it's a phrase or a clause. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, 10 seconds, go on. Now, this underlined words is a clause. Why is it a clause? It has a relative pronoun at the beginning, okay, which serves as the subject. Okay, this is the subject. And work is a doing word, right? Is a doing word. So is a verb. So because it has a subject and a verb, is a clause. Now, what kind of clause is it? What kind of clause is it? Is an adjectival clause, okay? It's an adjectival clause because first, what starts it? Relative pronoun. Relative pronouns are who, ever, that, whose. Okay? Now, relative adverbs include when, where, and why. Okay, relative adverbs. Okay, now these ones are relative pronouns. So relative, this group of underlined words starts with a relative pronoun. Okay, so who is the relative pronoun? So that should tell you that it is an adjectival clause. Okay, because we already identified it to be a clause, so it's an adjectival clause. And what is an adjective? What again makes it an adjectival clause? Who is the person that works long hours for low wages that is talking about? Children. Okay, children. So it qualifies this now, children. I also noticed that the underlined words, okay, the adjectival clause comes immediately after the noun that it is qualifying. Okay, now this is the same with this. You should be able to easily identify the correct grammatical name and function of the second example. Okay, so that is it about adjectival phrases and clauses. I hope you guys learned something from these videos. Thank you very much for watching. I will see you guys again very soon, and I hope to see you in our Jam UTME online class if you are going to sit for Jam UTME this year 2025. Thank you very much, and I wish you the best in your exams. Thank you, and